From the resident bleeding heart liberal on the couch. I have to say that I don't agree with the stimulus. What's one thing that the city or the state could do that would be hugely consequential for you guys?
Listen. Hands down, to actually listen.
It's not real money.
And small businesses cannot compete. They cannot compete with what's happening.
When people tell me there's not good paying jobs in Reno, I'm like, I'm trying to offer good paying jobs and no one wants to take them. So where's the disconnect?
Reading all of the incentives that all of these big businesses were getting to come here, and I'm thinking to myself, well, when is Reno going to take care of Reno?
But I also mean to say maybe the city didn't do a great job at being prepared for this.
Keep watching Girl Time in Reno. Every week we're going to be talking about things in Reno that affect us. It's our passion. So if there's something that you'd like us to address, please drop it in a comment. We want to make sure that we are talking about it. We're here for you guys. If I want, let yourself be free and maybe. Welcome to Girl Time in Reno. I'm your host, Laura Garcia. I'm here with my amazing co-hosts, Shonda Golden, Shivani Peterson, Marva Elaine Dupree, and Destiny Sanford. Thank you so much for joining us. So this week we're going to start off talking about a topic that I think a lot of people don't ever really get into conversation publicly about, and I think it needs to be talked about. So Shonda, you mentioned a book that's coming out. Would you mind sharing it with our...
Yeah, no, there's a new book out by Michael Moss. It's titled Hooked, and it's about food addiction and the additives that are in our food and how much sugar is actually in things like spaghetti sauce and just everything. And the author writes about how certain foods, especially in America with foods, we have our memory is attached to it. Mm-hmm. So whether it be for me, I love fried chicken, right? And so I have a good memory around fried chicken. So if I smell fried chicken or I eat fried chicken, I instantly go to that. So there's something about the foods that are bringing in that sort of emotion for us. And it's all by design.
I believe it. I think that there is a missing link that we're not understanding between chronic illness or cancer, right? And that link is food. That book reminds me of a book that I read called The Wheat Belly Book. Have you guys read that one?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so for our viewers watching, in The Wheat Belly Book, the author talks about the wheat industry and compares it to the cigarette industry of the 70s, that they are knowingly poisoning us, and that not just people who are, celiac or gluten sensitive shouldn't eat wheat. He contends that everyone should not eat wheat. And it's really interesting because he talks about the different elements of wheat, so a lot of people talk about gluten, but there's something in it called gliadin, and gliadin affects our brain like an opiate. And it's statistically proven that people that eat wheat products eat 400 more calories a day than people who don't, just because of that opiate effect. And he also talks about how 92% of the world is covered with this dwarf strain of this GMO wheat, and that when the farmers were creating it because it yields more, they weren't testing to see what it does to the human body. They were just testing it for yield, like crop yield. And so now the majority of our world is covered with this 18-inch dwarf wheat strain, and it's affecting our bodies. And so it was really interesting when I read it, because to me, I remember at the time I was thinking, I should probably cut out wheat, because when I really got down to it and I thought about eating and I thought about what I look forward to in a meal, I always was craving bread.
Right.
Like, give me the bread in every meal. And I thought, that can't be healthy. Like, that I look forward to bread that much. And once I cut it out, I don't what's the word I'm looking for? I don't obsess about my meals all day.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas before it was like I was living to each meal to look forward to what I could eat. And so, but we don't talk about it. We don't talk about food addiction and our relationship with food. And
we don't. This year, I knew that I wanted to aggressively make some goals and to really aggressively go after them. And I just prayed and I told God I was willing to give a major sacrifice to make sure that my health was intact so that I could aggressively go after those goals. And so I decided, or I just really felt strong, flour and sugar. I've had no episodes since I was kind of
What kind of episodes are you
sick.
referring
I
to?
would have very severe allergic reactions that would keep me down for about 5-6 days.
Like inflammation or
Inflammation.
like
So I would get inflammation, I would get hives, I would get severe headaches that would not go away no matter what I did, no matter what I take. And I would have to let it run its course because I refuse to take the steroid. If I take the steroid, I bounce back. But so many things go along with the steroids that I decided to not do steroids anymore. So when I would have an episode, and especially when I get tired, when I have an episode, I just have to wait it out. So I'm laying around like trying to sleep for 5 to 6 days because I'm just in pain. My chest, my breathing, my face, just everything's in pain from the inflammation. So I have not had one episode since January 1st.
wow.
So it took me a little bit to win. I didn't feel good for the first week and a half. But after that, it's been amazing. And I'm like, if this is what food was doing to me, I don't think I ever want to go back to, to bread and, all of those things that have sugar in it. So I'm reading the labels. And, when I even think about, I woke up in the middle of the night and they had some cake on the counter, and that's my weakness. And I went downstairs for a drink, and I promise you it was the devil. He's like, nobody is up. Go ahead, take a slice and just do it. I took the top off of the cake and went to get a knife. And, then you hear the angel speak, right? And the angel is saying, do you want to risk it? How you feel? For just this one moment. I was like, nope, put the knife back.
Nice.
And I was like, I won that one. I won that one. So yeah, I think that, and I don't crave sweets all day because I just need sweets. I don't have that craving that's driving me to constantly be eating. So health wise, I think that's why a lot of Americans are sick, is because of what we're putting in our bodies.
Yeah, but there's that psychological relationship with food too. There's what it does to us physically, but also mentally. I've been following an Instagram, Find Food Freedom. So it's find.food.freedom. And then there's also one called the Nutrition Tea, I think. And it's been so interesting to watch their posts, right? Because we always say like, okay, what we digest, right, kind of starts to be ingrained with us. And so I really try to be strategic about who I follow on social media. So slowly over time, for the last couple of months, I've been reading this and I'm like, yeah, some of the things they say make sense. Like it's food is not the enemy. And, sometimes inflammation, that's a real thing. But for a lot of people, it's, we need to stop having these unhealthy relationships with food where we binge or we think a food is bad, right? So Shivani, you're currently getting your MFT license, right? And going to school for that. Is this something that is in a field of study that they talk about, or what's your experience with this?
We haven't gotten to addictions yet. So I haven't gotten to dive in on any of the substances or food. But I think about this with my kids a lot because when we were little, we were the house that everybody wanted to come over to because my parents had all the food. Like we had all the sugar shit cereals, like Fruity Pebbles. We had all the bad food. And when we would come home from school, I remember eating until like dinner. Like I would come home, I'd have a bagel, and then I'd have a bowl of cereal, and then I'd have something else, and then I'd eat dinner, and then I'd go to bed. But we'd also spend, I think, we didn't have video games, and we spent a lot of time outside with our friends and on our bikes, and we were in sports and active. And so none of us ever had a weight problem, but also all three of us, I think, have a really healthy relationship with food. Like our friends would come over and we would be choosing a healthier cereal to eat, and they were like, I would never eat that if I had Cocoa Puffs every time. We were like, yeah, but I can have the Cocoa Puffs when I feel like having the Cocoa Puffs, but right now I kind of feel like filling my belly with something. And I think that translated through adulthood for all three of us, because all of us have a pretty good, as I said, relationship with food. My husband was overweight in his childhood and is pretty strict with himself now about food. And I honestly worry sometimes about the effect it has on the boys. Like I don't want the boys to earn a snack or ask me before they go have a snack or only have treats on certain. I don't want to give food that much importance. Like I don't want to make having ice cream the big deal, and I don't want you to come ask me if you're hungry, if you're allowed to eat. I want you to listen to your body. So that's what I'm trying to navigate right now, is how do I set these guys up to have a good relationship with food, because I don't think my parents really were that strategic. I think they just got lucky with how they handled it.
We're dealing with the same thing in our house. Like my son's 11, my daughter is going to be 8 soon. They're eating the same foods at the same time. It's affecting them differently. And I'm having a hard time deciding when they get to go and get whatever they want whenever they want to. And there's like an area in the house where you can pick anything from this bucket at any time. Like it's just good food for you. And then we have the treats and stuff. And I'm like, well, stop calling them treats and stop calling them like fun, guilty pleasures and whatnot, because that's how I talk about it with myself. And I can see my daughter already like, well, I don't think today's like a good day for McDonald's, or just things like that with when their friends come over. And I'm like, crap, am I doing that to her? Like what? I just signed up with a nutrition coach, and everything that I thought I was doing right from day one has completely been turned over. And now I'm eating way more food than I've ever had before. I'm like, it almost feels like I'm eating too much food for me. And I'm paying someone to tell me how to eat, but my body's telling me it feels like it's too much, and I'm just constantly confused. And I don't care who you follow, what book you read, it feels like everything is different, and we're all different, and it's not always like a weight issue. It's just like it's your health and how you feel, and passing that on to the kids is so scary. I'm always lost.
Well,
always
and on the
confused.
other side of what you're talking about, Shivani, my mind goes to, if we had just whatever in the house and said, just go for it. Food is not the same today that it was 20 years ago, or even 30 years ago,
Well,
right?
I was a kid 5 years ago.
And so bringing it full circle to the book that Shonda referenced, it's like the additives and preservatives that are being put in our food are specifically designed to make you crave them and buy more so they can make more money. Mm-hmm. So that's where I worry, going, okay, if we just don't educate, right? So I have the same fears with Ava, with my daughter, because I teach her what a carb is, what a protein, what a fat is, fruits and vegetables. And my message that I teach her is balance, right? Like everything's balanced. Yes, you can have ice cream, but did you also have a protein? Like, yes, you can have another carb, but did you have a vegetable, right? So, but my husband, on the other hand, he worries. He's like, you were going to give her a complex. And I'm like, no, education is power. It's neutral. If we just, but then I second guess myself sometimes too, going, I don't know.
What a
what's the right
curse is
answer?
it to have a bad relationship with food? Like, it is such a curse.
It really
And like,
is.
I've even gone through phases of my life, like when I was on dance team and I was more worried about it, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to eat all day and this. And anytime I get out of one of those phases, I'm like, I never want to go back there. Like, I'm just going to eat when I'm hungry, and I don't want to go back to having that relationship with food where I put it on a pedestal or I treat it as like a punishment, or like, I don't want to be there. And I think that's why there's so much pressure with how we're doing it with our kids.
Yeah.
Because we do not want them to have a fucked up relationship with food.
Yes.
Right? So
I
true.
had my children on a schedule. We did a schedule, and we, they had their breakfast. I usually make them breakfast, and we had fruit a couple of hours. And so they ate on a schedule every couple of hours. They were never hungry. I never heard a hunger cry when they were babies because I kept them on a schedule.
But what about the idea of teaching them to listen to their bodies when their bodies say they're hungry?
They didn't have to listen to their bodies because they were
mom
on a
knows
schedule.
best.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that just works for us because people are like, how are you keeping your children so thin? I go, they're on a schedule. And so when they would start acting up, or they were getting that it was time for them to eat. So I just kept them on a schedule that worked for them, and we kept it pretty healthy. We changed their milk to almond milk. They liked it. We started putting healthy stuff on the diet, and they liked it, so we just went with it. And they're pretty much the same still.
So pulling this all together, we have about a minute and a half left, and I really want to start focusing on what is the message, or what is the takeaway. So if you could quickly, like, what's the answer? What's the takeaway? Is there an answer?
Well, for me, it's just being a lot more conscious of the foods that I buy to bring into the house, and spending a little more money on food. There's looking at this too, this author, he also mentioned that in the more affluent and wealthier neighborhoods, they don't have weight issues. And if you look at people that are, they don't, because they're eating better foods. So
So wrapping this up, I think the bigger thing is we just need to start having the conversations, right? It's okay to have differing points of view, to not know, but let's start talking about it more, because I can honestly say I don't talk about food addiction. I don't really get into it. And it's hard because everyone has a different point of view, right? And so it just is sometimes easier to not go there. But it sounds like we need to have more conversations.
Yeah, and maybe next time I'll share how I got into recovery with food addiction. Because
I would love
recovery.
that. Okay, so future segment coming. Keep watching Girl Time in Reno, and we'll be right back after this short commercial break. Welcome back to Girl Time in Reno. I'm Laura Garcia. I'm here with my fabulous co-hosts Shonda, Shivani, Marva Elaine, and Destiny. For our second segment, we want to talk about all things local in Reno because we just love our biggest little city. And so I wanted to bring up a couple articles that I saw because I was doing some research. I wanted to make sure and talk about some things super relevant. And it couldn't help but catch my attention that there were two articles posted today. One that was talking about how there are 9 new companies coming to the state of Nevada, the majority of which are in northern Nevada, which I thought is so cool. And at the same time, the other article I noticed is like Nevada is ranked number 1 in least affordable housing in the United States or something. I think it was certain cities that they looked at, but I'm going, what? Like, we have a problem. We have a serious problem. What do we do? So we happen to have an expert in the area on our show. And so, Shivani, come on, give us some thoughts on this ever important topic.
I think that the housing crisis in Reno is not just as simple as housing. We all know and feel, right, that Reno grew too big, too fast.
Yep.
Like we didn't have the infrastructure in place.
Yeah.
Sure, the topic at hand and that I love to talk about is housing, but we also don't have enough pediatricians. We don't have enough doctors in general.
Yeah.
We don't have enough dentists. We don't have enough people. We weren't prepared for how quickly we grew. And I don't mean to say the city didn't do a good job, but I also mean to say maybe the city didn't do a great job at being prepared for this. And there's all kinds of development happening, and it's really hard. So, I hear a lot of complaints on, well, they're just throwing up luxury apartment buildings, and that's not what we need. What we need is affordable housing. Well, the answer I don't have, and the answer we all need is, well, who wants to build that? What developer wants to come in, and where can they get the land that's affordable to build? Because I work often with a developer who redid Midtown. And they came in from out of town and put a lot of money into, what's the word, gentrification?
Yeah.
Of Midtown. And they got a lot of heat for it because, it's expensive now. But on the other hand, we avoided that area. Like, I made sure to not go that way all through college and growing up in Reno. So was it bad that they made it nice? Because it wasn't really anything before. It was squatters, and it was just not a safe place.
So true.
So I think the question is twofold. I mean, yes, I 100% believe we need more affordable housing. That's a no-brainer, right? We need it. And it's not from a home ownership point of view. It's these people need places to rent, to live, to be safe. And I don't know what the answer is to build those. And then on the other side, we do have a bit of an affordability problem with people who want to break into home ownership because the prices have gone up. And I don't see them. I see the rate of appreciation for Reno being quite steep over the next year until we get some of the ease of inventory from new housing. This year, I don't know if you guys know, but there's going to be more new housing starts than there has ever been before. And that's not just in Reno, that's nationwide. But we won't see those houses ease the inventory problem until they're built, which takes 18 months to 2 years. So I do see that, there's relief coming in the horizon on home prices, but I don't know where the relief is coming for affordable housing.
Well, and on the other side of that, I was looking at the companies that are coming in, and the average income of the jobs that they're creating seem to be around $26 per hour to $30 per hour. And, that's the other end of the spectrum where that's not going to make enough income to be able to afford a house or even rent in some areas. So, it's kind of like twofold, but on the same hand, if we increase, right, the cost of
Living.
or the amount that someone can earn, if we say, okay, employers, you need to pay higher wages, then the people that it will really hurt are all of the small businesses.
Well, I'd love to hear from like you guys who are involved in small businesses, because when we post a job, I mean, it used to be that you would get 20 applicants. So now, I mean, I've got to make the job listing look really pretty and really easy to apply for, and just click this shiny button because we really need you to apply because we need to fill these positions. So I want to know what you guys feel, because when people tell me there's not good paying jobs in Reno, I'm like, I'm trying to offer good paying jobs and no one wants to take them. So where's the disconnect?
I think part of the problem, though, I think you'll agree, Shonda, is that they just restarted the unemployment. So last year we had COVID, right, and all the shutdowns, and then we had unemployment through the state, but then also that federal extra money where they were getting an extra like $300 or $400 a week on top of unemployment. So that was a lot of money for people to just stay home. Now they just started it up again, where now people on unemployment are getting an extra $300 a week. So small businesses can't compete with that. I mean, it's sad. You'd want to say that, okay, someone who is out of work would rather take a job and have the opportunity to work their way up, be future building, right? Maybe get benefits, whatever. But no, if the job pays the same amount as unemployment, they'll choose unemployment all day long.
Which is unfortunate. That's a really unfortunate part of where we are as a society. That people would rather have something given than work for it. I don't understand that mentality. I did not teach my children that mentality. The tribe that I have around me, the women, the men, everybody, no one gets that mentality at all. How is it that you don't want to earn your own money? Because nothing is free. They give you free money, nothing's free.
From the resident bleeding heart liberal on the couch. I have to say that I don't agree with the stimulus. I typically am with the Dems. And I do not think the stimulus did any good for anyone. I wanted to give the money to, I do think the single mom who worked in a restaurant, who had 3 kids, was affected by COVID, and we need to help her. We need to give her assistance.
And single dad.
We are, we are also ruining an entire generation's work ethic, because they will remember an entire year to 2 years now of free money where they didn't have to work, where COVID was literally the best thing that ever happened to them because they got more money than they were getting working. And how does that affect how they tackle the rest of their life and challenges and work and their careers?
Yep, here in Reno. So I have some friends that work at RC Willey, right? It's a great place to go. People like to go get furniture, right?
We buy
So
everything
after
RC Willey.
everything, right? After everything opened up, they had record months of how busy they were. And I'm going, that's what people are doing with the stimulus checks?
Yeah.
Really? Like, go buy a mattress, go buy furniture? How about you save it in case, right? Like, what is the stimulus check for?
Consumer spending is going to help our economy. So if people take the stimulus money and they put it back into the market, consumer spending will help us get out of this recession. But it's almost like it's fake money because of the problem it's causing with inflation, and we're basically just kicking the bucket down to where we're going to deal with this. So like, we saw the stock market rally and interest rates start to go up on all the stimulus news, but I'm like, you guys are rallying on fake news. Because this is it's not real money.
And small businesses cannot compete. They cannot compete with what's happening. I have an aunt that she's been putting out, she's like, I have no help. She's literally working every day, and the people that are there are working with her every day, and barely getting days off because she's putting it out there. And she's like, could you help me on social media? And they are turning it down. They won't even look at it twice and they're saying, I get paid more not doing anything. So it's a big problem. And so she's like, I just can't compete with that.
Well, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
What I took away
We're
from
so polite on
no, I'm
this
so
show.
sorry. What I took away from the article really was reading all of the incentives that all of these big businesses were getting to come here, and I'm thinking to myself, well, when is Reno going to take care of Reno? So last year for small business sucked for all of us. And my big thing was, the city still wanted their money on time when it came to my business license. They were still at my door to make sure that I had all the check boxes marked. And I was like, you shut me down for months. For months, I was shut down. I know,
and they don't extend your license longer.
No, they don't. And they make sure that they got everything on time. So before we bring in all of these other people and give them all these incentives and give jobs away to people who probably don't live in Reno, it's like, help us out, because we really are trying to give the mom and the college student, I'm trying to give them their job.
Well, my understanding on the incentives is that they were state incentives, but still, the state should help us out. And I had to point out, okay, so you guys got to go find the article, because I was reading through all the incentives. This is kind of off topic, but fascinating. There was one company, I think it was called Plant Fiber. It was like a manufacturing company. They got 1.3 million in incentives, whereas everyone else got anywhere from like 300 to 800 in incentives, right? But then it also shared what the tax revenue over a 10-year span that those people were going to bring in. And so, when you're reading the ones that are getting like, say, 400,000 in incentives, and they're going to bring in, say, 3 or 4 million in tax over 10 years. Well, the one that got the 1.3 million had one of the lower end. They're only bringing 4 million over the next 10 years. And I couldn't help but wonder, what is that about, and why is nobody talking about it? It was manufacturing out in Story County, but it was a state incentive.
What kind of manufacturing are they doing?
I'm trying to remember. I read the article so briefly, but it was something about plant fiber manufacturing, building products, but
Interesting.
it was really interesting. I encourage you to go read the article, because maybe I misread it, but it kind of like, is there some sort of nepotism going on there? I don't know.
The thing is
In
those
Reno?
businesses, they're not making
In Nevada?
Sorry, Destiny.
No, not at all. No, but they're not making Reno what Reno is, and why people want to live here, and why people want to raise their children here. And I get it, and I get these big businesses and their taxes and what they're going to do for our state. But at the end of the day, I just don't believe that all of those jobs, one, are going to go to people who live here in Reno. Mm-hmm. And if we are all what make us, like, look at us and take care of us and make sure that we're getting the same type of respect as a business 10 times my size, because we're what makes us.
What's one
us.
thing that the city or the state could do that would be hugely consequential for you guys?
Listen. Hands down, to actually listen. Mm-hmm. Don't bring a whole bunch of people to my front door who are there to collect money. Bring someone who actually wants to know what is going on and how they could help me, because they could all do it differently. And just by being heard, I don't think I would be so upset about all of the incentives.
That's
just
so true. That's so true. Because with the salon industry, I've talked on the show that we're still held to different standards than everybody else. We can only have one guest per one service provider. And, we've been trying to contact the governor's office, talking to the cosmetology board, talking to so many people. No one, it's not my problem. They're not listening. There's nobody who cares, is what we feel like.
Yes.
And we're, cosmetologists, that's 60,000 people strong in the state of Nevada. Mm-hmm. And yet we are the little guy, because we don't produce the revenue per se. We just, prop up the economy with micro businesses, but we don't produce the big bucks that all of the casino industries, they have lobbyists. They, you kind of got to pay to play to like be heard. Mm-hmm. But what do we do as a little guy? But yeah, good call. Yeah. Well, if you've enjoyed this topic, keep watching Girl Time in Reno. Every week we're going to be talking about things in Reno that affect us. It's our passion. So if there's something that you'd like us to address, please drop it in a comment. We want to make sure that we are talking about it. We're here for you guys. Thank you for joining us every week. We're going to be right back with our last segment of Girl Time in Reno.
At La Di Da Beauty, we care far more about our bride's experience than just an end result.
My favorite part about doing weddings is seeing the bride light up after she gets out of our beauty chair and she goes to look at herself in the mirror and she feels like a true bride.
My favorite part about doing weddings is the ability to show a person how beautiful they can be with hair and makeup. I know how hard it can be to try to do that for yourself. I believe that you can bring out the most beautiful thing in the world in people when you can show them a different part of themselves.
And welcome back to Girl Time in Reno. For our last segment today, we love to do a little catch up, get to know our co-hosts, what's going on. I'm going to start us off by talking about what I was really excited about this week. So I've got to share some love with my salon. Just shout out to La Di Da Beauty Salon.
Yay.
You know, being a small business owner is trying sometimes, and there's ups and downs, but there are moments that are really rewarding. And this week I just felt so much love, and we started off the week doing a photo shoot with Blanca and Brandon Photography, which I'm so excited to get the photos back, right? And then I just got to do a lot of, you know, one-on-one coaching with the artists, and I don't know, I feel like there's a good, I don't know if it's just springtime or what, the beautiful weather, but there's all this good energy. We have Ceci from our salon on our shoot today. So make sure you go follow La Di Da Beauty Salon, show our artists some love, because I'm just excited for what's to come. We have some fun Instagram stuff we're going to be pushing. So if you're following us on Instagram, we're going to be doing a Mother's Day giveaway. So we're partnering with different businesses to do that, including Chrissy with Quality Events and Designs. So Chrissy with Quality Events and Designs is who supplies our flowers every week. We love her, and we're really excited that she's going to be partnering with the salon for a Mother's Day giveaway. And so lots of good stuff to come. So that's my little weekly update and shout out to the ladies at La Di Da Beauty.
Okay, I'll hop on to your train.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it does. It feels like spring's in the air. Everyone's wearing like a little bit brighter colors, and the sun is shining. We have been on bike rides every single day with the kids. I'm like, let's get out. We're biking to school. We're biking back home. We took them for ice cream, and my girlfriend's having a baby soon, so now we're planning a baby shower, and it just feels like there's good things coming and a little like extra vitamin D, and you just feel good right now. Like, my friends are starting to make plans to go out to dinner, and it just feels like, like friendship's coming and togetherness is coming, and last year we were like so separate, and now it's like I'm ready. I'm ready for spring and summer, really.
How about you, Shivani?
Last week I was talking to you guys about that panel and how I wanted to translate it to something local. And so I'm going to put on the calendar the first Thursday in May a virtual event on how to use real estate to be a boss babe.
Wonderful.
I'm in.
I love it.
And I'll share my thoughts on why I truly believe that, you know, anyone can use real estate to build wealth, but why women especially should do it to build financial security. And then I'm going to have some panelists on, an estate attorney who can talk about, you know, from a legal perspective, how to set yourself up and protect yourself, a real estate agent. I also want to have a financial or wealth advisor on to talk about it. But what I need everyone's help with is I want to find a badass female real estate investor. So viewers, if you know someone who has just built a huge financial, has had huge financial success and built a good foundation for herself using real estate investing, I would love to be connected with them so I could have them on my panel. And then personally, a little victory is that I'm taking my first real vacation.
Yes.
After 8 years of being in the mortgage industry. Next
What
week,
does real mean to you?
away message on your cell phone, away message on your email, and away message on your office line.
Yes.
I mean, if anyone's having an emergency, they'll be able to reach me, but the rest, if it can wait, can wait. If you need someone right now, you can contact a team member.
I love it. Congratulations.
I'm really excited for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shonda, catch us up. What's going on with you?
I'm kind of like with Destiny. I feel spring is in the air, right? So a couple of things. I went and shot with Marilee Caruso on Wednesday, and she's who I started with when I started doing pinup. And I kind of took a little break from pinup, but obviously 2020 I didn't shoot at all. But it was great to. She styled my hair in they're called barrel rolls, I think.
I saw it. It was so cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, my hair was fabulous. And so I was super glamorous. It was in front of a 1940s car with suicide doors. It was really super cool. And it was, I was a little rusty at first, but then I got my groove back.
Yes.
And we had so much fun. It was such a fun shoot. So I did that, and then I got my wheels in for my roller skates. So I'm supposed to be getting my roller skates.
I love that. My
That sounds
10-year-old
like
daughter
fun.
just got roller skates for her birthday.
Oh my God.
So I'm feeling a photo shoot session
Yes.
coming.
Oh yeah. So I'm going to start roller skating. My girlfriend's really into it. So I'm going to start roller skating. I'm super excited about that. And then
Can I come?
Yeah,
Same.
absolutely.
And I'll film your Instagram stories for it.
Oh my
I
God,
feel like
please.
Roller Kingdom is so perfect for that.
Thank you. I was just gonna say,
Right?
remember Tuesdays? It was like 97 cents to get in.
Yes.
Way back when.
Yes. Oh, and I
Oh,
don't want to go
wow.
off topic, but if you're new to Reno and you haven't seen like the late 90s, early 2000s Roller Kingdom commercial about not doing drugs,
So good.
you should.
There you go.
It's
there
so
you go.
good.
Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my God, you have
It's
to
so
watch
good.
it.
Was I
Yeah.
here? No, I wasn't here. But anyways, we did a soft open for Golden Tampon because that's coming up May 1st. And I'm working now with Bare Knuckle PR to help me get that going.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
You can put
they
one
are
in the
good.
salon.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody out there that wants to do a drive, please. I know it's so difficult with COVID and with everything going on. We're all wanting to tighten our belts, but anything you could give would be great.
I'll give
So-
like a discount. Like if they bring in something for the drive, then they can have a discount on their retail
Oh,
product or
thank
something.
you. Thank you. That would be great.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that's what I'm doing. Roller disco queen.
Yes.
Pin-up roller disco queen.
I love it.
She's one of a kind.
One of a kind.
Diva Supreme.
Thank you.
No, Shonda Supreme. Is it Diva Supreme?
No, what she's talking about is for Pride. Because you can't be a queen during Pride. So I am the premier supreme diva.
Yes, you are.
Supreme.
Diva supreme.
Yes.
That's me.
Okay.
All right, for our other Diva Supreme.
Yes.
It has been awesome. It's been a very awesome week. So we did get that promotion that we were working so hard for. Thank you. So that was pretty exciting. The team that I lead, we were able to rank at least 12. It was 12 that was able to go to the next level. So very intense and very, like, I was just working nonstop. But it was just, it's all worth it. And so I'm with you all. It's like the spring, this time, this is a very good time for business, or I'm, on my morning shows, I'm telling people whatever is in your heart to do, go do it. Like, this is the time, this is the moment, this is the season. I don't know what it is about this season, but you just, when you feel something, you know something, you just got to do it. That's our way of God letting us know, I'm with you, I'm moving right now, so move with me. And so empowering people and really pushing people to get out of the comfort, to do the unimaginable and do the unthinkable, like, is really, really, really my focus right now. So it's great. I'm getting ready for my world premiere. I'm so excited about it. I can't talk about it, but I'm getting so excited
When
about
you say
setting
your
a bigger
world premiere,
stage.
Your world premiere of your book?
The book is included, but we got some other stuff in the works that I can't really talk about right now. But I'm so excited and seeing things on a much larger scale, a bigger scale, and it's so important to have people around you that see big, because most times we're looking too small because big is scary. But I'm up for it, so I have that nervous, but I want to help as many people as I can. And so I believe that this is the opportunity to do that.
I love it. I can't wait to hear more about what it is.
I know, we're on the edge of our seat now.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for catching us up. I love this part of the segment. It's just so good to hear what everyone's up to. And what we're up to as Girl Time in Reno is we will have our website, our YouTube channel, our logo, our branding coming to you soon. So stay tuned. Trying to get 6 women to agree to colors, right? A font. Like, we did it. So it's coming. So thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Girl Time in Reno. We will catch you next week.
Let yourself be free, and maybe you will find that there is more to life than being pretty.